I had no inkling I was going to the 221st until after a day or two at the 90th. Nobody was taking into account the fact that I had just come from APC and I had been in photo. But all of a sudden, I was going to the. When they said the 221st, I wasn't even aware that what the 221st was.
I was working on a project at APC that its final scene was going to be shot in Saigon, but they wouldn't let me go. They said, "No, you're going to Vietnam. You can't go." So I went down to the Pentagon and I said, I went to the office where they assign people, and I found out that I was going to be assigned to the 221st. But they said, no, you can't go with the APC people. You have to go. You have to be cycled over there like everybody else.
How long have you had this camera, Ken?
Oh,
That's why I didn't bring mine. The new one. I haven't even looked at it yet.
You haven't looked at it yet?
Well, I put a lens on it.
Just give me a Filmo, something I can handle.
Right.
Yeah, I think so.
That's the one thing about these small cameras. They got no heft to
There we
them.
go.
There we go. Okay.
I can make a title underneath it.
What can I do you for?
What can I do you for? Yeah. We just were talking like an exit interview.
Oh, the exit interviews, yeah, that I picked up at Fort McNair at the Army Historical Unit there, and it was Major Carson for one, and they were talking about all of the deficiencies and how they were getting personnel who'd come into the unit didn't have any experience or weren't familiar with the equipment that being used and how they had to train them and the deficiencies with the equipment itself, stuff that didn't work. It wasn't.
I had a guy on my team who, in civilian life, used to work in a body shop. Mm-hmm. How he ever got to the 220? You know what? He was a good photographer.
And there were guys like Gene Campbell, who came in, who was on my team. He came in from an infantry unit, I believe, but guys who had some photo experience, but they liked being out in the field and whatnot, and they became fairly good photographers, because they had an interest in it.
So what equipment did you use, Ken, for your stuff?
Yeah, we had Harry BLs, Nagra, either a Filmo or an S. I forget which.
And this is when you were on like
This was one of Mac VIO in Saigon.
So you guys had the better stuff.
Yeah, they went out and bought it. One of the first guys that set up one of the Army teams actually went to Hong Kong to buy this stuff for the other teams. So they sent him out to get the equipment.
How about when you were in Play Cruise?
We were shooting 35 and weren't shooting any film, any motion pictures. Most of the guys would use their own cameras and stuff that they brought with them. They'd get their film from the PX because they didn't trust the film that they were getting because the black and white wasn't so good. So they'd go down to PX and get their Tri-X and go out. It's processed there.
They still use our labs though.
Yeah, that was processed there. Yeah.
Couldn't beat the price.
Processing. I go in there at night, and a lot of people would go at night and do their own personal work in the labs, just to keep their hand in and go in there, make enlargements, and work on their portfolio and stuff like that. There I am. Oh, here's your office.
You got to send me these pictures so I can cut these in because I'm not getting very
Yeah, there you go. That's Play Coup.
Oh, that's Play Coup, yeah.
Yeah, that's your office.
That's my office. Well, it was Roger's office. Everybody.
Yeah.
That paneling, that wood paneling all around.
Yeah, see the wood paneling? Yeah, the shower. Guy riding home. Oh, here's the picture. This is the guy I'm telling you about. Now, if I had captioned this, I'd know who it was at the time, but, I didn't until his...
You mean you didn't do your captions on
I didn't do my captions. This is the picture I'm telling you about.
That was a personal photo.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why you didn't caption.
I didn't caption it, yeah. But they were planning their next mission, and that's what it was. And
so if you were running the unit today, you'd make them do better captions.
absolutely. I know how important captions are now.
Yeah.
It's a little bit late.
Yeah, Mountain Yard, Saigon. No, this is one of the relocation villages outside of Play Coup, and he's suffering from malnutrition.
Wow. This is amazing that this image shows up on a phone, all these years later.
Yeah. Saigon.
Well, I only used the Bell and Howell Filmo. That was the workhorse.
Did you go to Fort Monmouth for training, or did you?
No. Right out of OCS, I had orders to APC.
So where did you learn to use a Filmo?
I didn't.
OJT.
OJT. When I first got in country with John Morris, Major Carson sent John and I out with a couple of Filmos, and we jumped on a helicopter here and there, and for like a whole week we just shot black and white motion picture stuff. And it was developed, and we could see it immediately. And I mean, I was slightly familiar with 100-foot loads because in school I had used cameras with 100-foot loads. So you know, I was familiar with changing bags. With the Filmo, you didn't need a changing bag; that made it easy. Threading it up was easy. I was familiar with threading projectors. You know, it was a no nonsense camera. You could knock it around, you could bang the hell out of it, and it would still work. You know?
You didn't like using the Top Gun.
Top Gun was bad because you'd lean over in a helicopter and the vibration and shake the lens and fall out. And you'd probably killed a couple of VC with the falling lens more than anything else.
I don't remember lenses falling out, but it was
remember it came with
very
a kit.
loud shutter.
It was a kit, came in a bag. It had 3 lenses, camera body, and this interesting little camel hair brush that was in this brass tube.
So you never used the CM16?
No.
I know I did. And we shot stuff with it like USO shows. But I don't know if we ever got anything good out of it. You know, I think there were a lot of breakdowns, a lot of problems with it. But we had would you say, an unusual unit?
It was kind of like a MASH unit. You know, it was kind of like MASH on steroids. You know, for photo. I mean, because who comes in with an air conditioner to the unit?
True.
You know, who had a CO like Bill Kelly, who was a lawyer turned advertising man, who all of a sudden is in charge of a
I think
bunch
we
of.
had more tile in Hooches than I saw anywhere else. Yeah, that was another thing. We always seemed to be able to get good stuff for the Hooches, at least for the officers. We thought.
I remember in photo supply, we had a bunch of Korean guys came in and they wanted to trade a helicopter for film. And I was almost going to go for it, but the helicopter was still in the crate, and we didn't have anybody
It was a loach.
together. It was a loach.